My name is Mark and welcome to my channel. Join me all year round, week in, week out, come rain or shine, and together we'll be fishing for pleasure. Morning troops, another day, another river, and here we find myself on my local village river before breakfast. A few hours fishing for whatever's there, hopefully some chub, and it's due to get very hot, so we'll be packing up about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Quick 3 hour, quick fire session. Let's see if we can catch a few. Here's the reel loaded up with new fish detection line. It's low stretch, sinking line, 0.23 mil, 6 pound breaking strain. And here's the rod. Getting some violent bites on worm. Obviously I reckon it must be small stuff, but let's see how we get on. As soon as I get the cameras on it, nothing happens. Isn't that typical? Plenty of kingfishers around. Typical, isn't it? Let's get some really violent bites on the tip there. As soon as I start filming it, static. And it didn't even register as a bite there. So I reckon it's taken that on the drop as it's gone in. I'll put a grain of corn on to hold the worm in place because there's a barbless hook. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, look at that. If it's only small stuff, I might swap back over to my corn approach because it's got to be small stuff. So what I'll try is chopping the worm and seeing if that does any better. Let's see if that has the desired effect. we go, as soon as we switched over to a smaller bait. Let's see what it is. Ah, perch, of course. Sergeant Stripey. Look at that, troops. A gudgeon. Worm and corn cocktail, and I catch a gudgeon. I ain't had one of them for years. Let's get him back safely. Oh well. It was just a morning of perch, gudgeon, perch. I'm afraid it wasn't the greatest session in the world, but it was only a quick fire, short one. So I'm off out again later in the week for an evening session on tench. We're going to go there straight away on this video. Oh, the joys of a natural venue. 3 hours cutting, raking, prepping the swim, pre-baiting, all it. And look at all that duckweed moved in. This section was clear of duckweed when I started. Luckily enough, the wind is taking it, even though it's taking it through the swim, it's pushing it more to the far bank. When I first started, when I got here, I was first deciding what I was going to fish, how I was going to fish. It was really gale force winds. I couldn't even get the float out there, so I've gone with a ledger. Now the wind's dropped off, so it's manageable with a float now. So we'll see how it performs with a light ledger at first. If I'm not happy with it, I'll switch over to a float. We're fishing for tench, so I didn't mind taking hours to prep the swim because I was hoping, you know, it's an evening session. But I don't want to be wasting time swapping and changing methods all the time. Got to swim exactly how I want it. That duckweed stays where it is at the moment, that distance out, I'm fine. Before it's been hard work. As I say, I've pre-baited up, put 5 jaffers out there, or ground bait. In that ground bait there's casters, hemp, corn and party blend. So there's plenty of small morsels in there as well. At the moment I've got single grain of corn on. I will be switching over to a worm and corn cocktail. Let's see if we can beat the elements. Oh, that duckweed was really becoming a problem. It was coming into the margins really thick. Once it grabbed hold of that line, it just, there was no registration of bites. Couldn't do anything with it. So I had to put the old thinking cap on and come up with a way to avoid all that duckweed coming into the swim, and I constructed a weed boon. Well, there's my homemade weed boon. There's just too much duckweed coming into the margin of the swim. It meant that there was no bite indication at all to speak of. So I've constructed a little weed boon. It's not holding everything back. There's a little trickle of weed coming through and around it, but it should keep the margin pretty clear and allow for proper indication, because you know it was diabolical. Paracord, a dumbbell to hold the bottom, an empty detergent bottle as a float, so the paracord comes directly to the surface, and then a couple of those swimmers, what do you call them, tubes, sponges, whatever they are, they float, and they're keeping that weed out of the swim so I can get some proper indication. All we've had is one perch so far, so it hasn't been great, but hopefully now we'll be able to see any bites we do get and catch a few. It's a horrible grey day. You would have thought perfect light conditions for the fish to feed, you know, because the water is pretty clear, but it's overcast. It's not cold, but it is a bit drizzly and damp and horrible, so I've got my raincoat on and a woolly hat. Let's see if we can get some bites. Well, after that one perch, the session descended into a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. The wind changed direction, it was blowing a gale and it was coming into the swim. And so I put a second rod out. I thought, there we go, I put a second rod out, increased my chances, put an eel rod out on the left hand side. But the wind changed direction and the duckweed just kept coming into the swim. I mean, and then all of a sudden, midnight, 1 o'clock, it looked like a snooker table. The river was completely choked, the swim was dead, there was no way to fish it. It was time to go home. Thanks for watching, troops. It really was a week from hell. Fishing wise, I didn't catch a lot, only small perch on both venues, and thanks for watching. Not the greatest exploits this week, but that's real fishing for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the bank real soon.